right, thank you everyone for joining us. I'm going to make sure that others can get in. We've been having some difficulty with our people joining. But we're going to go ahead and get started. First and foremost, I want to welcome you all and thank you guys for joining us. This is part 2 of our exciting AI webinar series. Part 1 was just a couple weeks ago, and it was really exciting introducing Copilot. This is kind of the Copilot in action. So we're going to see a lot of demonstrations and all the ins and outs of what this product can actually do, because that's the important part. We want to see how it works, right? So kind of the rollout of what we're going to be talking about is I will introduce this session, and then a little bit of housekeeping and so on and so forth. And then I'll talk a little bit about C&W Technologies, but not too long, because we have some exciting information to share as far as the demos, and my partner Angela will go over all of that. So get excited. It's going to be a fun webinar. So our housekeeping, you may notice all of your microphones and cameras are disabled. So if you have any questions, we still encourage you to drop them in our chat box, and I will address them accordingly. So we encourage you, please definitely drop some questions, and we'll address them. For your convenience, this session is going to be recorded, so I will send out the recording as long as our post-event survey after this session. It does take a little bit, but look out for that email to come through. The post-event survey, we do encourage you to fill out that information. It helps us to do what we can do and keeping on these webinars. So please fill that out. That would be very helpful to us. So a little bit about C&W Technologies. So we are a Stewart-based IT company, and our primary focus is IT management. We do a lot of phone service, cloud maintenance, networking, AI. Now you see that we're doing AI. But we've been in the business for 40 plus years. We're celebrating our 40th year this year, so we're very, very excited. And we still have the same owner and CEO and founder, Mr. Eric Keene. Unfortunately, he could not be on the call with us today, but he is still very active with the company and, doing all the back-end technology and all that stuff. So we're a team of about 15. So we're a small but mighty crew. And we are your tech gurus for all things IT. So anything IT related, we can definitely assist with helping you. So without further ado, I've been kind of babbling on a little bit about C&W, but let's get to the good stuff. Let me hand it over to Angela, and she is going to start our demo presentation. So there we go.
Thank you, Tara. So my name is Angela Gawitsky, and I'm here to, show you the goods today. So we're going to go through some features with Copilot, talk a little bit about, your return on investment for Copilot and different ways that you can use it throughout your day as an AI assistant, because that's really what Copilot is, right? And just like any assistant, you've got to give it the right prompts, you've got to give it the right tasks to get the best output. So I'm going to show you some examples of that today. But Copilot is really more than just a tool. It's truly a partner in your work, and it can help really adapt to your preferences, your goals, and even to your voice as you begin to use it. So I'll show you how we can use some different prompts using, natural human language to get the best output from Copilot. It's going to work alongside all of your apps, which I'll show you today. We're going to show an example in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams. I'm also going to show you a little bit about, Copilot chat and how to utilize that as well. So here's our agenda. We know that AI is here and it's here to stay. And so now is the time really to, start exploring and to start getting curious about AI because it's going to, and it is changing the way that we all work. Copilot really serves as an invaluable assistant to people that are already using it for very real world applications. And then we're going to, of course, show you Copilot in action. And then finally, we'll do an ROI discussion, just a brief discussion on what that looks like once you adopt Copilot, and then what your next steps are. So going into the AI is here to stay piece, right? So, small businesses, they really face some significant challenges in maintaining productivity, fostering innovation with their team. So small teams like Tara said, C&W, right? They've got 15 people and they've got a lot of things to do in their everyday. So having a personal assistant to help you complete those tasks is really beneficial. And I'll show you what that looks like. Here's some statistics from last year. In 2024, Microsoft completed their annual work trend index, and they found 3 areas of challenges for SMBs, and that's time, innovation, and data. So these respondents that you can see here, they cited running out of energy by the end of the day, lacking focus and time to drive innovative changes, and AI is proving to be that critical tool to help them get those everyday mundane tasks done quicker, easier, and on to ways to be innovative and create change within their org. And so what is Copilot really, right? So we hear about AI, we hear about a lot of different types of AI, and generative AI is what you're going to think about when we think about Copilot, right? So when you have your auto text examples, for instance, in your phone messaging, that's a type of predictive AI. Copilot is a generative AI, so it's going to use the prompts that you give it. It's going to use the text, images, data that you give it to create unique products. It's going to create unique outputs for you. And AI transformation, again, is really just pivotal in driving business growth. It's going to help you to enhance personal productivity, operational efficiency, and you can really unlock different levels for being creative in your role. And I know we all struggle with, burnout is a thing, right? We all struggle with having too many emails, too many tasks, too many meetings, keeping up with those follow-up emails, et cetera, right? So I'm going to show you some examples of how we can do that and really move forward. And then right before we get into the demo portion, I want to talk just a little bit about Copilot and security. So M365 Copilot really serves as an AI assistant again, right? It's designed to enhance your work experience and all of that's great, but the piece that we really want to ensure when you're thinking about AI, because not all AI tools are the same. And not all of them have your security best practices in mind. So, when we're talking about M365 Copilot, something that's very unique is that your Copilot is actually going to adopt and inherit the existing security protocols within your existing Microsoft graph, your existing Microsoft world, your individual tenant. Copilot stays within that tenant and doesn't move outside of it. So you're not sharing your information, you're not sharing your data with other orgs, right? Copilot is security that you can also trust. It's built on Microsoft's zero trust policy. So it's going to honor your existing permissions again. It's going to help with risk-based conditional access and endpoint management. And it helps you really get ramped up and prepared with Microsoft's data governance and compliance rules. So you can control your data, you control the location of your data, and you can make sure that it's not being used to train a foundational model. So when you're using tools like free services like Meta or ChatGPT, for instance, all the information that you're providing those LLMs is, training and learning that module, right? Whereas everything that you provide Copilot is staying unique to you. So it's as simple as something like sharing your granny's secret cookie recipe, or the sensitive HR documents that you have within your organization. So this is an important part of the conversation around AI because, again, AI is what here to stay, right? And if you're not talking about and having conversations around secure AI, and you're not having conversations about data protection and the best AI to use within your organization, and limiting the tools that you should not be using, folks are going to use tools that might be sharing your private data. So this is not to scare you. This is just to give you that information, give you that tool, and let you understand that not everything is the same, and that Copilot is unique in this way that your data information is secure. So I'll get past that piece and move on to the fun piece, right? So you guys want to see Copilot in action, and we are going to go ahead and do that. So let me bring up my screen here for you, and give me just a moment. And go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you can see that. It looks like we got a thumbs up. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so this is what your individual Copilot AI assistant will look like once you actually have a license. So something I want to show you here on the top first is you've got two different options. This is a toggle between your work life and your web life. Your work Copilot is integrated and it's connected to your Microsoft Graph. The Microsoft Graph is everything that you as an individual have access to. So the files that you have access to, your internal SharePoint sites that you have access to, files that have been shared with you, etc. Right? Each person within your org that gets a Copilot license will have different Microsoft Graph connectors. So you'll have different files and different resources that you have access to. So I'll go back to the HR example, right? Somebody in HR is going to have access to the private HR files that they have access to, but somebody that's not would not have access to that information. And then you also have your web version. If we toggle to the web version here, you can see this little icon in the right-hand side. So this didn't change when I went from work to web. This stays here because even if you're accessing content from the web, Copilot is not sharing these searches with outside of your environment. So this all stays within inside of your org. So we can do all kinds of stuff here within the web version, right? You can kind of use it like an enhanced Google feature. I can ask Copilot to give me specific outputs and examples based on certain resources. So let's say I am a teacher in Stuart, Florida, and I would like to get some curriculum. Don't make fun of me for my spelling errors. It always happens when I'm live. Right? And I would like to source all resources from Florida verified K through 12 education resources. Okay. I am creating a deck on birds. Okay, so we've given Copilot a lot of information. It knows that I'm a teacher, it knows where I am, it knows I want to create curriculum, right? And I want to use specific sources based on curriculum that's verified for K through 12 education, right? So it's giving us some basic information. I just said birds, so I could say a specific bird. Let's say I would like information about the state bird, or I would like information about migratory birds, right? Not only is it giving me some basics here, it's also giving me some resources. So you can see that all of these are .orgs. So these are Florida educational resources. And I could get even more specific, of course, but here's a quick example of what you can do on the web. Now, when it comes to the work version, what's great here is that I can actually prepare myself for meetings. I can, set myself up with, examples. I can search for content. This is somebody within my organization. I could say, hey, what's the latest from this person if I need to get caught up on chats and emails. If I wanted to say, I would like to prepare for this meeting right here. Oops. I would like to prepare for the meeting today, part 2, leading the way. We'll give it that. So it's looking for my meetings. It's resourcing and accessing information within my teams for this because it knows meetings, and any specific information that was inside of that meeting, it's going to give me some resources, right? So we've got a link to the meeting. Here's the join link. This is organized by C&W. We've got our guest speakers, etc., related files. I could ask Copilot here more questions. It gives me some examples of prompts. Hey, do I need to draft some talking points? Can you help me summarize the attached file? This is great when you have a meeting that's coming up and let's say maybe it was booked out a few weeks and you kind of forgot what the meeting was about. This can also help you source emails that are connected to this specific meeting as well. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to a Teams example. All right, so in this example, we have a user. His name is Lee, and Lee works for a company called Adventure E-Bikes, right? Lee is supposed to be at this meeting, but he was a couple minutes late. So, so Lee is just joining our meeting here, right? And we're going to ask a couple questions of Copilot because we missed the first couple of minutes. So we've got Copilot here on our top right. We're going to hit the Copilot button. And Copilot is going to open. This Copilot is specific to just this meeting. So you're only going to access information about this individual meeting. We're going to go down and we've got some prompt examples like I showed you before. So let me show you what we've got. We've got opportunities to recap the meeting, list any action items, suggest follow-up questions. So what we're going to do is recap the meeting. And Copilot's going to give us an example of what we've talked about so far. So they've done a lot so far in this meeting. We need to hire a new bike mechanic. We need some marketing collateral. We've got some information about with the city department for transportation. So there's a lot that's been going on. Let's ask Copilot another question here. We want to say, who's tasked with finding a new bike mechanic? And this is going to tell us, okay, our team member Isaiah is tasked with finding the new bike mechanic for this request. Let's go ahead and ask Copilot, hey, let's suggest some follow-up questions. Lee was late to this meeting. Let's see if he can get some context on what he should be asking and what he might have missed. So some questions that he can ask is about the marketing budget. Lee is himself, so that's something that he knows that they've been requesting from him and that he should be contributing to this meeting. And then what the skill level and experience of the new mechanic is. All right, so I've given you a little example here. We want to move on to a little bit of a different view for you. So let's just assume that we've already exited this meeting, the meeting's already completed, right? We're going to go to chat here first. and we're going to open up this meeting. So this is the meeting we were just in. And to access the recap, we're going to go to recap here on the top. And you'll see, we can see a little bit of everything about the meeting. We've got our recording here. You can see we've got speakers. It'll break down your topics for you, the different chapters in your meeting. You can access what everyone talked about. You've got transcript notes. That's what the little colors are here. To the right, if we move on, we've got notes. That's where you're actually taking notes within the meeting. And then you've got your AI notes. So this is what Copilot has done for you. If we go into the meeting notes here, let's go ahead and check this out for a little recap. So we can see that, Lee has missed a few things, right? So we've discussed a few topics, and these are the topics that Lee is associated with and he has contributed to. So let's get a little more granular with Copilot. This again is your Copilot that is within this meeting. So it's assigned to this individual meeting. We select Copilot, and you can see that the topics that I asked about before are still here. So this is retained for this meeting. So any questions that you as an individual ask from your Copilot will continue to show up here. It is not going to show you the request from anybody outside, anybody outside of your org, and it's not going to show you the request from anybody on your team. This is your individual Copilot that you're working with on this meeting. Okay, so let's see some additional prompts here. What we want to do is list some action items for this meeting and what our next steps are. Okay, so Copilot went through the meeting and it gave us some action items. So we need to hire a new mechanic. We've got some marketing collateral. We've got some, to go over the marketing budget, etc. So I personally will use my Copilot inside of a meeting, and I'll also ask it things like, hey, can you help me send a follow-up email to all the attendees here using the action items, using the notes, and any resources that were shared. And it's a really easy way to send a follow-up email after a meeting has happened. I find that most beneficial because I have sometimes one meeting after another. So it's an easy way to get that recap out and done and not have to wait until the end of your day to send these recaps and then sometimes forget about all of the things you talked about. I don't know about you, but I've definitely been in a great meeting where we talked about so many wonderful things, and then you have 4 meetings afterwards and then you forget. So this is a really great way to make sure everything is recapped and be ready for the next steps. I will note that Copilot doesn't automatically turn on for every meeting. You do have to physically turn that on and allow Copilot. So it's not listening to every single call that you're on. You do have the opportunity to manage that. Okay, so we're going to move on to Outlook. And for this one, we have somebody else who's also on that same team. They're AdventureWorks. This is a sales manager. So this is somebody on the sales team. She has just a ton of emails, and she was on vacation for a couple days, and she's trying to, get things moving and figure out what needs to be requested. So the first one that I want to highlight here is this one from Lynn Roberts. They're requesting a proposal. So let's go ahead and open that one up. And we've got, some basic text here, but it's kind of long. So let's ask Copilot to summarize that for us. All right, so Copilot has broken this down into some shorter, manageable, text here. So it looks like they are seeking proposals from vendors for their fleet of e-bikes. They would like to be used for staff for short distance trips within the city, etc. So Lynn is going to go ahead, or excuse me, they're going to go ahead and Adele is the name of the person in this example, are going to go ahead and reply to Lynn. So we'll hit reply all. Now, this is giving us an option to have Copilot help us with this response, right? So you can They've already got some examples here for you. Hey, I want to express interest, request more information, decline, confirm, but let's go ahead and select custom. And let's see what we're going to say here in this email. Adele wants to say, accept and let her know we'll review the RFP shortly and get back with any questions. So this is fine, but it's, it's not very lengthy. It's not very kind. So we've got options here. We can, change the tone. We can make it more casual. We'll keep this one here on formal and let's just say short. So we'll go ahead and move forward and generate a response. Okay, so this one's fine, but it's maybe a little too formal, right? Hey, we're interested. Let's go ahead and see what other ways we can change this. Let's maybe make it sound a little more direct. Okay, so nice and simple here. Hey, we're grateful for your email and the opportunity to participate in this exciting program. Adele likes it, and we're going to go ahead and keep this one. All right, so we've got this one set up as a draft, but let's go ahead and see what else we've got going on before we send this one. So we've got another draft, as you'll see here on the top. Alan has an issue with his bike. All right, we're going to check out this email from Alan, and Alan has an issue with his bike. We've got an example here where we say, that's strange. I know that the bike we sent you was inspected before we sent it out. Maybe this isn't the best way to say this when it comes to sales and customer service. So let's get Copilot to help us. All right, we're going to get some coaching on this email from Copilot. And Copilot has told us that we could be more empathetic. We could be express more gratitude. We could also be a little more clear in our message, right? So based on this coaching, we're going to go ahead and try a new response. So let's highlight this section here. And instead of saying, hey, that's strange, we've got, thank you for choosing AdventureWorks. Sorry you're having an issue with your bike. And we'll go ahead and send this one off. Okay. And so, this is just a quick example, but you can see how quickly it is that you can, get an email out there, how you can summarize an email. The summary feature, I think, is most beneficial when you have just a long thread with lots of people and lots of email. You might have missed 10 to 15 emails in that thread, and it's a really good opportunity to get a summary and move forward because it can take some time to read an entire thread. All right, so we're going to move on to our next example. We've got Word. So let me bring this over here for you. Okay, so in this example, we have somebody from the marketing team. Okay, Alex is the person we've got here. They're looking to get a snapshot of the new product they have. It is an e-bike, and they want to get a comparison of this e-bike to some other bikes and get some content out for their marketing team. So we're going to open up Word, and we have a basic document here that talks about the specs and the examples for this new e-bike from them. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Copilot and Word to get us moving. And we're going to go to our file here. We're going to open up a blank document. And from here, we've got a couple different ways that we can access Copilot. We've got Copilot up here on the right we can select, but we've also got Copilot right here within our document. So let's open up Copilot. And we can ask Copilot anything here. We can also reference a document from a file. So we're going to do that because we want to use that last product spec file that we used. So we're going to select product specs. And we're going to give it our output, what we're looking for. We want to compare the specs of the document with the top 3 e-bikes in the market, so our competitors. And let's go ahead and generate that. Okay. So we've got a comparison of our examples here. It looks pretty good so far, so we're just going to go ahead and keep it. And let's see what it's generated for us. So we've got an introduction, performance comparison, design, price comparison. So it's given us a lot of information, but Alex is looking to get a little bit more context for this one. So let's open our Copilot in the top panel. And from here, we've got our new Copilot chat, right? We can ask our Copilot about this document. So let's ask it to create a short compete statement based on the document. Okay, so it's given us quite a bit here. We're going to go ahead and copy this. Before I do that, I want to show you here at the bottom, it's given us a 1, 2, 3, 4. These are actually references that it's pulled this information from, and it'll show you where in that document. So we'll hit copy, and we're going to put this into the empty space within our document here on the top. So we've got a breakdown of this feature. Okay, so Copilot's actually also given us some pretty good prompts. So let's see if it can give us a little bit more about the features of this specific e-bike. So it's reviewing the document and it's given us a breakdown of the bike. So we've got a lightweight, durable frame, long-lasting, removable battery, range extender, all-terrain tires, excuse me. And let's give it, let's use one more of these prompts, right? So what are the advantages of AdventureWorks Thunderbolt e-bike? So based on these feature sets that it's found for us, what are those advantages? So according to the document, we've got the range extender option, a throttle that provides instant power without pedaling, and a regenerative braking and step-through frame. So this is another one that Alex is interested in, so we're going to go ahead and copy that as well. And we're going to hit the scroll, and we're going to put this one down here on the bottom because it's right next to our pricing. So we want to give it, hey, here are these examples and why you'd want to buy this bike from us. Okay, let's go back up to the top. We're going to create a little bit of space here and we're going to add just a bit more information. And we're going to add a heading. Okay, so things are looking good so far, right? We're going to get a summary here from Copilot to give us our final steps. So let's hit this Copilot button. And we're going to describe what we'd like in this section. So we want to create a short summary of this document, and we will generate. Okay, and we've got a quick summary here. Looks good to me, so we're going to go ahead and keep this option. And that's just a quick way we've gone from a document that only gave the specs about this product. Copilot went out and found comparisons from 3 different competitor bike options and helped us create this marketing agenda, introduction with summary, features, and price comparisons. All right, I have got another one here moving forward for us. I know I've done a lot so far, so I thought maybe I would just take a peek at the chat because I know I've given you guys a lot to chew on, right? I don't see anything in there, but if you do have questions, please feel free to throw them out there. We'll have a little bit of time after the demos to answer some as well. Okay, so the next one here is actually going to be PowerPoint. Let me bring this over here for you. All right, so same company, right? We've got this bike company. They have hired a new mechanic. So this is an example for somebody in the HR world. And this person is going to create a PowerPoint presentation and it's going to be based on their new hire paperwork, right? But they want to create something nice for them so they can follow along and know what to expect as a new bike mechanic for this organization. So we're going to go ahead and open up PowerPoint, and we're going to start from a blank presentation, which honestly is can take a very long time. PowerPoints, you can make something nice and basic pretty, I would say not even very quickly. It takes a long time to really get to know PowerPoint. So we're going to open up Copilot and have it help us. Okay, so Isaiah is our user in this case. And just like we did from the Word example, we're going to use a file to create a presentation. So we're going to go to create from a file here, and we're going to use the bike mechanic hiring document. So we've just given it this simple example, right? We'll see what Copilot gives us. You can give it more content and context in the example. You can say the person's name to personalize it a little bit more. You can say how many slides you'd like. You can give it more context around outline. But we've got a quick draft very quickly from just inputting that document, right? So Copilot has given us 11 slides, and it's going to give us some examples and ways that we can adjust this and make it a little bit nicer. So let's view some prompts here. Okay, so I'm going to show you the different ways that you can use these prompts. The first one we're going to do is the edit function. Okay, so we've got these prompts here, right? We want to organize this presentation. So let's organize this presentation. Copilot is working for us here. And it's given us some examples. Here's a suggestion on how to structure your deck, grouping slides by section, and adding slides. These are the examples for the added slides. And then let's go back to our prompts again. And we're going to do the create function. I'll show you how to use the create function. And let's say we want to add an additional slide to this deck. So we'll go ahead and say add a slide about, and then we would prompt it here. We would like to add a slide about AdventureWorks Bike Company with their motto, which is we prepare you for the adventure ahead. Okay, and we'll go ahead and allow it to move forward with that. So it's given us that example slide, right? Looks pretty good so far, but maybe we'll want to edit this one. So we'll go back to prompts and we'll try edit one more time. And from here, we want to add a different image because this is not our bike, right? Okay, so here we go. We've got add an image of a person riding a bike through the city. And we'll hit send on that one. Okay, so we've got a person with an image riding a bike through the city. I would like to highlight that when you create any images within PowerPoint or you create images using Copilot, you aren't going to have any issues with, that being owned by anyone, right? There's no copyright issues with these images. You own that image or they're open source images. We're going to go to our prompts one more time here, and let's ask Copilot a question. And we'll try this one here. Give me specific examples from this presentation on how I can improve it. And we want to improve it for, and we'll give an example, an onboarding deck, because that's what we're making. All right. Very good. So it's given us some examples about including additional slides on the onboarding process, benefits and perks, etc. So these are just some good examples of how Copilot already has prompts in there, so you can play with it and help create a PowerPoint that's got a little more impact for you. And just as a last funny thing here, can you add a slide at the end with a bike joke? I'll prepare you. It's a dad joke. So Why did the bicycle fall over? Because it was too tired. So, haha, but this just shows you how you can play around with Copilot and you can get a lot more context, from creating something, especially if you're new to PowerPoint, you're not familiar with editing slides, you're new to playing around with Designer, you can actually ask Copilot for some examples and some tips and tricks to get better at this tool. Okay,
Angela, I do have a question, a number of questions that came up. How is Excel with numbers now? Could you easily make a PowerPoint for a company's quarterly financials, for instance?
yeah, absolutely. So with Excel, you would do something similar to what we've done. You would bring in from a file, you would source a file and Copilot can help you input that into Excel. And I will agree that in the very beginning, over a year ago when Copilot was released, it was not great in Excel. Those were some of the features that they released last. If you really want a lot more out of Excel and Copilot, I recommend integrating Python. You can create some great pivot tables. You can create some charts and all kinds. Copilot is going to interact and integrate with Python for Excel. And your base Copilot in Excel is really great for folks who are newer to Excel. If you are an Excel whiz, I recommend moving to Copilot with Excel and Python.
Great. And I have another question. It's a two-part question. So Linda has an Outlook account through GoDaddy just for her emails. It does not show Copilot. Is this correct? And
So,
then, whoops. Okay,
no, go
you address that one.
Yeah, I'll do that one first. So, you know, Copilot, right? When you have an M365 license, you should see the Copilot icon. However, unless you have a Copilot license, you can't actually interact with the full product. The only thing that comes with your M365 license is that Copilot Chat, the free version, which is web-based only. It does not interact with your existing environment or your files. Now, I do know that GoDaddy is very unique in that the products they sell are not identical to the products that you get when you buy Microsoft licensing through the CSP channel, through somebody like C&W, because GoDaddy has its own special snowflake syndicated environment that doesn't interact or connect or communicate with anything else. So that's kind of a separate piece, a separate conversation. But yeah, you do have to have the Copilot license to complete the tasks and tools, that I was showing you today.
Okay. And the next question that she has is she has Office 365. It has started applying Copilot in my Excel worksheets, even though I didn't ask it to. Also, it seems that if I hide it when I open an Excel workbook, it won't open another workbook. Is that at the same time? This
Um,
never happened before. Sorry, I had to scroll down.
yeah,
This
okay.
never happened before. In addition, there have been several times I needed to close the Excel and reopen because it would not let me access certain cells. So, for example, I'd point at C8, it would type into C10. Upon reopen, it all worked again.
That sounds like a unique scenario. I don't know if you're using Excel in a browser instead of in the app. Sometimes in a browser, you're not going to get all the functionality out of Excel. I definitely recommend using in the app and not the web browser. Um, that would be something maybe to chat with C&W afterwards, because that sounds like something that's local on the computer, not the browser. Yeah,
Right.
I'm not sure there. That would have to be something that look at specifically. But when it comes to Copilot in Excel, it often does open up that chat window, right? So you've got your chat window, but you can close it. So Copilot's not going to do anything unless you ask it to.
Do we have any further questions? Just put them in the chat.
Okay, and I know we got a few minutes left, so I'm gonna pull up those ROI slides that I talked about before. And if there are any questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat. You know, there's a lot around Copilot, right? AI is, it seems like it's been around forever at this point, but it is really new. And there are no bad questions because it's changing constantly. It's not the same it was a year ago. And in a year, it won't be the same as it is now. They're constantly adding new features, right? Thanks. Thank you. I'm glad you liked the demo. There's so much you can do, even outside of what I showed you. Pulling information from a file is going to get you the best output, right? So you've got content already, especially if you want to create a PowerPoint. Let's say, you know, if you have it broken down into agenda, like I want to have an introduction that says XYZ, yada yada, you're going to get more and more. You're going to get a better output the better content that you give to it, right? If I wanted to, for example, do something on a personal Copilot, and I'm, let's say, going on vacation, I could say, hey Copilot, I'm going on vacation to Canada for a week, help me write an itinerary. It's not going to give me as good of an output if I say, hey, Copilot, I'm going to Canada on vacation from this date to this date. I really love seeing museums. I love hiking in parks. I'm a vegan and I want to see vegan restaurants. Can you give me a 7-day itinerary based on these, you know, based on this context? It's going to give you a way better output than just something basic, right? So think of it as hiring an assistant. You need to give them all the information, just like you would, you know, anybody that you were working with. So you can ask for a coffee or you can ask for a vanilla cappuccino. They're very different products, right? So what I'm showing you here is really just kind of the some info about the early access program results from Copilot. They did some early access and they surveyed these folks. So we've got the difference between, you know, some high value users and statistics for strong performances, right? The perks of using Copilot. Would they rather have Copilot or a free lunch, which I think is a funny stat. 77% chose Copilot over their free lunch. But we've got, and I think this is probably the best slide. I want to show you this one and kind of move forward a bit. But these ones here were really interesting as far as metrics around using Copilot, right? So this is from that work trend index that I explained earlier. So it really kind of just showcases the different efficiencies, okay? So in the study over here, right, the first study here simulated a day in the work of a knowledge worker. Microsoft divided 147 people into 2 groups, one working with Copilot and one without, and asked them to do 3 tasks. They wanted them to search for information across multiple sources, summarize a meeting recording, and write a blog post, right? So that's going to be this first one here, missed meeting. So Copilot users completed the tasks a lot faster. They were 29% faster in all 3 tasks, taking 29 minutes and 42 seconds compared to 42 minutes and 6 seconds. So for the writing tasks alone in this example, first draft for their writing task only took 8 minutes and 12 seconds versus the almost 14 minutes for users without. So it does come down to minutes in some of these cases, but on the next slide, I'll show you a little bit about what that, you know, what that really comes out to when it comes to an ROI. And then we've got another example here, right? So we've got a missed meeting. Here we're looking specifically at Copilot in Teams, which is probably where we see the heaviest usage of Copilot. They split 60 Microsoft employees into 2 groups again, one with and one without Copilot. and they had a 35-minute recorded meeting, kind of what I showed you before with crosstalk. They had debate in this meeting, discussions off topic, and they gave the two groups, Copilot and without. The Copilot users were able to summarize the meeting and get contents and a follow-up 4 times faster. So they did that in just over 11 minutes, where it took the users without Copilot 42 minutes and 34 seconds. And I would say Teams is probably one of the quickest ones to adopt and see the benefit out of. If you're not familiar with AI, you do have to kind of play around and get good at prompting. You got to our team, when we first got Copilot, we had the motto of let's try and break it. Let's see what it can do, what it can't do, how it's going to help us, and where it's not really the best. And you'll find once you get a Copilot license how it helps you the best. I see a question. So training for new tech can be difficult, especially for older users. Can you speak to an average user's learning curve? I would say with Teams, it's pretty quick. It depends on the apps, right? So Copilot, in the different apps, I would say is a different learning curve. Teams is pretty quick. Outlook is also, I would say, pretty intuitive. It can help you summarize those meetings. It can help you get recaps. You can even, after you've left for, let's say you go on vacation for a couple weeks, you can prompt Copilot and say, hey, Copilot, I've been on vacation. Can you please create a table for me of the emails that are the most urgent, ones that I need to get to right away, and any that I may need to follow up on? And can you put those in order of urgency? I've definitely done this before. It gives a really great output. But that's just some ways that you can learn to adopt. It is something that I would say users need to be proactive about. Microsoft does have post purchasing Copilot, they have quick start trainings. So you can log on to those. They are 1-hour trainings. They're interactive. You follow along with a Microsoft badged employee, and they show you demo examples, and you can follow along with your Copilot and figure out the ways that they're using in their prompting. They also have role-based trainings, and those trainings are specific, kind of like I was showing you today, a day in the life of somebody in HR or finance, marketing. So you can connect with C&W to assist with that piece. I know that C&W is also doing individualized demo experiences post these events. So if you're interested in that, we can get you an individualized demo with just your team. You can ask questions live. But that's a great question, Jed. I would say the apps that take probably the most time to learn are Excel. And that's just based on the user's base knowledge of Excel already. It is great for somebody who's not good at Excel to really help them, because you used, natural language to request these questions. You can say, hey, I need the output for column A, right? Whatever the question might be. And then once if you are advanced, like I was saying, you can move on to Python and Excel and playing around with Copilot pivot tables, creating graphs and charts. And so, a couple of those examples before, right? And then just kind of moving on to what Microsoft has found from an ROI breakdown, right? Implementing Copilot within your org and what that breakdown looks like. So let's just say an executive who's making $200K a year, they could potentially save, $100 a month if they're decreasing their time by an hour a week. To break even, that's 3.3 minutes a day. And then you can see as it goes down here. So there's definitely benefits to onboarding Copilot. And as you, as a user, use Copilot more, you'll learn more things that you can use. You'll learn more ways that you can implement it in your day-to-day strategies. Again, I would say Outlook and Teams is the great place to start, and you'll gain more and more insight as you use it continuously. The ones that I use probably the most, I would say PowerPoint, because I do a lot of presentations like this. It's great. Sometimes PowerPoints in the past, they could take weeks to get completed and make sure that you've got your, company logo and color, etc. You can ask Copilot to create you a PowerPoint that's, specific to that template if you already have one. So it looks like we're at the end of the hour here. If you guys are interested in that demo, if you're interested in that experience, please reach out to C&W and we can get you that individualized training and additional resources.
Thank you so much, Angela. So I guess that concludes the demo experience. But as you were saying, Angela, we do have more opportunities for those interested in learning a little bit more, seeing it hands-on in their, specific business, and might help you, learn a little bit more about AI and help overcome that tech curve. So thank you so much to everyone who was here today and for the questions, very engaging. And we're so excited that we were able to put this on. So stay tuned. And if you haven't registered already, stay tuned for our next webinar and register because spots are filling up quickly. It will be on June 30th, same time, same place. Grab your coffee so we can all have fun. And it will be kind of looking at the tech side of the Copilot. So a lot of we've touched on the security aspect, but we're going to look at it a little bit deeper, and that is very important. So hopefully we'd love to have you all join. If we are interested now or there's more information that you want to talk to us about, you can always give my team a call, 772-287-5215, or you can email us directly at ai@cwnow.com. Just as a reiteration from what I was saying at the beginning of this session, there will be a post-event survey, and I do encourage you, please fill that out so we can continue doing these webinars. And also our recording from this session, so everyone will have a copy, and you can all, refer back if you have any questions, give us a call. But otherwise, besides that, I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. And we look forward to seeing you in part 3 of our AI series. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.